because there's not a whole lot of people here yet.
Well, you're going to watch us kind of cook a little bit, talk a little bit. No major PowerPoint today. We're just going to sit and answer some questions and talk with you guys a little bit. So it'll be a fun Tuesday morning class.
Yeah, we're calling this one the fireside chat, except it's going to be our stove side chat with Swathi. And we're really focusing on the holidays and how to prepare ourselves mentally, physically, emotionally, all of those things for what is probably the busiest and most stressful time of year for everybody. All right.
I
Well,
guess let's get
yeah, let's
started.
get started. So, like I said, my name's Samantha. This is Swathi. You all know her. I'm one of the nurses here. So today we decided we're going to do this really casual, and part of that's because we are crazy busy here at Be
Yeah.
Well, right? Like we've got so much going on. Today is our Friendsgiving event. So last night Swathi cooked a turkey. We haven't cooked it yet.
You guys are going to
We're gonna
help
cook the
me baste it a
turkey.
little bit today.
So one of those things that happens when we're crazy busy is we have to decide what's important and where do we what do we balance? What do we prioritize? And Swathi loves a PowerPoint, but I told her last night, no PowerPoints. Let's just talk. Let's make it casual.
Yeah.
And that way she wasn't up till midnight after cooking the turkey. So that's what we're doing today.
Honestly, that I think is like sometimes when we talk about like how do you really reduce stress during this time of season, I think part of it is prioritizing what's important and what's not. And it was important for me to get the turkey made because that's a big joyful thing for our patients. It's important for me to see patients today. These beautiful gratitude jars that we have back here is one of my all-time favorite things that we do at Be Well is through the month of November. We give ourselves just really nice things about how why working with each other makes our life better. And so I made these little cute things that like just talks about like how much my staff means to me and the people that I work with. These were things that were important for me yesterday to finish up. And so I thought, do you guys really need a PowerPoint? Probably not, because we can just talk about all of this. So sometimes that stress kind of it leads to let go of the things that you just don't have time for that might not be all that important.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I think that's really hard. I think for me, the holiday season basically starts mid-November through New Year's. Feels like I'm running a marathon
Mhm.
because you're going from, we still have our normal lives, right? We still have to
Mhm.
work and take care of, the families and the kids and the house and all the stuff. But then you add on all the events and the family stuff, the holiday stuff that you have to do. And that is a lot of energy, a lot of work, a lot of effort. So, what are some ways when you're like tired, you're like, you have this marathon, what are some ways you suggest for helping boost energy levels? Really give you that go so that you can get through it all.
So, the thing that we want to dive into at this point in time that's easy for me to say is here are the supplements and the IVs that you can do. Those are something that I'm going to talk to you guys about, but primarily it's to go back to the basics. Make sure that you're nourished, eat well. Make sure that you're getting your exercise, schedule that in because it is so important. And this is the time of year when we kind of forget about that and carve it out of our schedule. And probably the most important thing for me is you have to sleep well. Make sure that you're getting 8 solid hours of uninterrupted sleep every night. You will do more with getting a good night's sleep than you will do with taking a million supplements. I'll give
Mhm.
you those too, but that's so important. And again, poop well, make sure that you're taking care of your digestive system. So we go back to this all the time if you've been here. Eat well, sleep well, move well, and poop well. But then what can you do on top
Well,
of
let me
that?
go back before we start talking about supplements and things. Let's talk about a couple of those things in a little bit more detail. Because, for example, you said exercise, schedule the exercise. I think, and this is just me, and you guys can chime in, send a little message if you don't want to
Mhm.
like pop up on the thing. But exercise in the winter is a lot harder. During the summer and the fall, I love to go outside. My husband and I go hiking. We go
Mhm.
take pictures of birds. We stay active because we're outdoors.
Yeah.
And now it's cold and it's rainy and it's
Mhm.
dreary, and I hate going to the gym.
Mhm.
What are some thoughts you have on ways to do exercise in the winter that's still fun?
Okay, so I love this stuff. So there are so many fun things that you can do, like down the street, we have off the wall sports. Like get together with a bunch of your friends and go create your own little off the wall rec soccer team. You don't have to be any good, but you're out there with your friends. Samantha's like, okay, that's not
I'm
for
not
me.
gonna play soccer.
Take, but you know what? It's fun. We ended up doing soccer one year. Jason and I ended up doing kickball one year. He still talks about the tournament winning kickball kick that he had. And you know what I mean? We're like old people playing these things, but we are having so much fun. Pickleball is all the rage these days, and there are places that you can play indoors, and there's huge facilities that are coming up. I
Hmm.
like doing things that have community and fellowship involved with them, and I have a lot of friends who's really kind of transformed their lives. If that's not your thing, go take a dance class, go do an aerobics class. If that's not your thing, do something in your basement. Like it
Hmm.
doesn't have to be getting on a treadmill. It can be turning on some music, throwing down the
I think
couch cushions.
for me personally, I think that doing it at home in the privacy of my living room or wherever, but somehow making it fun. And I think that you'll find if you go on YouTube, you don't even have to like join a subscription or pay money. Like if you go onto YouTube and say like fun exercise dance class, you can find really cool classes like literally
Yeah.
for free.
With
Um,
almost any kind of,
you can do yoga, like
yeah,
all of those things. And I don't feel embarrassed
yeah,
because nobody's watching me act like a, silly person in my living room
yeah.
doing a dance that I don't dance. So, but I do think it's important to remember that exercise doesn't have to be in the gym. You don't have
Mhm.
to be lifting weights and doing all the things and making it really formal,
Yeah.
as long as you're doing, I think, a mix of aerobic, getting that heart really pumping, and then also, if not weights, at least like body weight exercises to help
And
with that
remember what
also.
Dr. Angela and I were talking about last week for women, especially over the age of 50, like you really want to get that hit. So you want to get like really intense working out and then give yourself a little bit of a break. So you want to get that heart rate really up and down in that wave motion. You can do that doing anything. And so if you hate the treadmill, go do something different. If you love the treadmill, go do that. Like find the thing that brings you some joy and do that, whether it's with fellowship, whether it's at home. It's very individual, but just don't let it restrict you because a lot of times people are like, I can't get to the gym and that's the only thing that I do. There are just so many other options for you out there.
So let's go back to that energy question. Let's assume that I'm doing it all right. I'm eating, I'm sleeping, I'm pooping, I'm exercising, all of it. What are some ways to help me just kind of get that extra little oomph through the holidays?
Okay, so first and foremost, you've got to be on your foundational supplements. Without vitamin D, without magnesium, without probiotics, and even fish oil, it's harder to bring your inflammation down, to be pain-free, because when you're in pain, it's hard to have energy. And vitamin D and magnesium are the precursors or the catalyst for so many different reactions. So don't forget those like initial, most foundational supplements. If you're someone that doesn't methylate great and your provider has given you B vitamins, this is a time when you may need even more Bs and a little bit more magnesium. Because when your body gets stressed, your body eats up B vitamins and magnesium. It's one of the reasons why we get more constipated because we don't have as much magnesium. And it's one of the reasons why we get a little bit more fatigued. And so sometimes we add on a supplement, like one of my favorite supplements to add on this time of year to my normal foundational stuff is a supplement called Bio 3 BGs, which is a lot of B6. And I mean, you can just take two of those even every waking hour, and it just gives you some focused energy. It works really great for me because B6 is required to make serotonin and dopamine and also to help your mitochondria work efficiently. Sometimes, if I'm just feeling low stamina and I'm not being able to get the kind of vegetables that I really want to get, then there's another supplement that I love using, either called Energy Multiplex or ATP 360. ATP 360 is a mitochondrial agent. It will make your urine so yellow, but you can take 2 cups in the morning and one in the evening. And it really does give me, it's not necessarily energy, but it gives me more stamina. So at the end of my day, I still get home and have a lot of drive and a lot of energy. But probably one of my most favorite things to do is to come in for an IV. The
Hmm.
IVs have kind of been a game changer for me, and quite frankly, I think for our practice too.
I agree. I work in the IV clinic, so I'm usually the
Hmm.
one talking with patients and saying, "How did you feel after that? Did you notice a
Hmm.
difference?" And I really like to think of it as filling up the cup, right? Like,
Yeah.
so when we get tired and run down, our body is using up all those vitamins
Hmm.
and minerals, and we're not as well hydrated as we should be. And so an IV is a really great way to get that cup filled up.
Hmm.
So then we can keep it full with our diet, with our regular supplements and vitamins. But if we're just really low and depleted and we're giving ourselves, those
Hmm.
vitamins and supplements, maybe we're just not making a big enough dent. And that will really like get that energy, get that hydration going. So I love our Be Hydrated and our Be Strong. They're fairly similar. It's just the B Strong has an extra ingredient in there, but all the B vitamins, the vitamin C,
The
and the
minerals that you
minerals,
need.
magnesium,
Yeah.
zinc, copper, manganese. It's just great
As well as
for
the
everything.
hydration.
Yeah.
I've been doing an IV ozone, which is really fantastic for reducing oxidative stress. I think of it almost like getting the house cleaners in and they just kind of go in and just like wipe everything down. And then either doing a B hydrated, a B immune, or a B strong on top of
So you're kind of skipping to my next question.
it.
So let
Yeah,
me ask the question and then we can kind of come back to
sure.
those. But so obviously winter, fall is flu season,
Yeah.
right? It's when we
Hmm.
start to feel sick.
Yeah.
You're just indoors a lot more, germs are a lot more present, and we're around all our family and friends and the little
Yeah,
kids covered in the
yeah.
germs.
And it's going to be a terrible flu season, you guys, this year. We
So
just know
what
it.
do we do? I know we had we did a class a couple weeks ago, you and Alana, and we talked a lot about this. So I
Yeah.
don't want to like go into too much detail, but let's go again on what are like the key things to prevent illness, and then if I feel like I'm getting sick,
Yeah.
what should I do?
Yeah. Right now, we kind of have a really game-winning strategy that's been really working well. We're getting like a dehydrated IV or that type of thing. I'm going to say, hey, do that if you want to. If you're getting sick, I'm going to almost prescribe and say, come in and get a B Immune IV. You can do a sick day special, which is the IV ozone with B Immune that has zinc, vitamin C, and glutathione. Or you can just do the zinc, vitamin C, glutathione. It has literally almost like stopped people from getting sick or has like saved days. Like it's again kind of a game changer. Also, I tell most of my patients to have two supplements with them. You don't have to take these all the time. As a matter of fact, I don't want you to take them all the time. But the two supplements that you should have is a supplement called Varicid, because most of the things that we're getting sick with right now are viruses. And Varicid you can take two twice a day when you feel a virus or sickness coming on, and you take it only for about 3 to 5 days, like at most 7. And there's another supplement that we love called Immune Active. And Immune Active has all those things that you get in the IV, zinc, vitamin C, glutathione, or I'm sorry, something called N-acetylcysteine, which can really just break up mucus for you, and a couple of other things. That one also two twice a day kind of boosts up your immune system, and really to help you get better. And actually, there's one more thing because are
Mhm.
seeing a lot of sore throats. And so sore throats can happen for two reasons, guys. So you have to really know why it's happening. One is if you have a lot of sinus congestion and mucus here, and that's going into the back of your throat, saline rinses, saline rinses, saline rinses. You have to use distilled water. You have to use a saline packet. It is the most profound thing that you will do because when mucus stays stagnant, it will develop an infection. When there's lots of mucus here and you can't get it out through your nose, it's going to go into the back of your throat and create
Mhm.
so much sore throat. So saline rinses. If it's more of a sore throat, like a strepy type sore throat, or if this is where the infection is, we have something called Biocidin throat spray. Two little sprays right into the back of your throat. Again, kind of phenomenal for killing off the viruses and the bacteria that can cause infections of the throat. And
Mhm.
so those are probably the three supplements.
So Swathi's like emergency sickness
Yeah.
preparedness kit would be the immune active, Varicid, and a bottle of the biocidin spray. Those things are not like forever things and they'll last you. And if you
Mhm.
have them on hand though, as soon as you start to feel sick, as soon as you get that scratchy throat, you can go ahead and do it. Obviously, if you don't have it on hand, you don't have your like emergency Swathi preparedness pack, we are open Monday through Friday,
Saturday,
and
Monday through
Saturday in the
Saturday.
mornings. So
Yeah.
you can always stop by and pick up supplements, anytime. We can also ship those to you if you're not local,
If you're
but
traveling, come and do Be Immune IV prior to travel. Again, it's been a game changer for us. And then grab those supplements and take them with you. They'll last you years, you guys, because you just won't use them all the time. But you do need to make certain that you kind of put them away from your other meds and supplements, because these are not things that we want you to take all the time. We want you to
Mhm.
take them only when you need them.
Okay, awesome. So I think for me, the biggest struggle during the holidays is the stress, the
Yeah.
emotional turmoil. There's just like so many ups and downs. There's so much going on. Family, every family, I don't know anybody whose family doesn't stress them out a little bit. And you just spend so much more time with your family. So let's talk about some ways that you can help balance and cope and deal with all the extra stress that come with the holidays.
No, like before this time of year, I take a moment to just sort of just sort of establish my baseline. Who are the people that I'm going to be interacting with? Why do they push my buttons? I just kind of come up with a game plan of what I'm going to do, especially with family members that sort of bring out the worst in me sometimes. What am I going to let go of this year? I've learned humor is a phenomenal thing for me, and just kind of laughing off sometimes when people kind of go into their same antics and things like that. And I found that the more I let it go, the more I kind of see humor instead in a situation that might be getting tense to diffuse it, the more they respond to that. What are some of the things that you've come up with?
My biggest one is giving myself permission to walk away
Yeah.
when things get really heated or emotional. I can
Hmm.
be like, "Hey, I just need a minute," and whether that's just I go off into a different room and take a minute, or hey, I think we run out of butter.
Hmm.
Which by the way, we never run out of butter. I have so much butter, it's crazy. But sometimes it's like, hey, I gotta run to the grocery store and get some butter, and maybe I take a little extra longer drive on the way home, but giving yourself permission to give yourself space, and then letting the emotions come down, I
Yeah.
think can really help. And then by the time you show back up, everybody's like, oh, hey, let's, we're friends again.
So, so we have a saying in our house, like when the kids were growing up, and I don't know if you guys have ever heard of halt. Halt is if you're hungry, angry, lonely, or tired, stop what you're going to say. Don't say it. Walk away. Just feed yourself. Make sure that you're not feeling so vulnerable and so hurt and so lonely. Make sure that you're not as like tired, and then go back and have the conversation that you're going to. Because what I find is when I am hungry, angry, lonely, or tired, lonely most of all, insecure, lonely, feeling vulnerable. That's when sometimes you say things that you might regret, and you probably will make a situation worse, if not better. And
Mhm.
so if you don't remember like anything else, remember halt, and just walk away. Like
Yeah.
that, and allow that same thing to happen with other people as well, because everyone feels stressed during this time of year, and giving people grace has really made a difference for me. The other thing that you can do is we can give you some supplements that can help with that too. And just to kind of not, we laugh about that a little bit, but honestly, we sell a lot of phosphatidylserine and Be Well Calm during this time of year, is because it is a kind of a nutritional and food-based way to prepare yourself if you know you're going to get overstimulated, over agitated, because those are the types of things that can really affect your health. And
Mhm.
remember what happens when you're being chased after by a bear, like your body goes into fight or flight mode, and some of those like digestion and detox and some of those things kind of go by the wayside. So it is really important.
Mhm.
Probably the two supplements that we use the most are what I use often is called Be Well Serene, and the ingredient that's in there is called phosphatidylserine. Phosphatidylserine is a fantastic thing for. I know people always come up to the front desk and say, "I need the phospha," and they always know what it is. And so phosphatidylserine is something that blocks cortisol and adrenaline from really binding to the cells. There's a little bit of serotonergic capacity in there. It also helps your cell membranes have really good communication with one another. So there's a lot of good. And honestly, you can take two 10 times a day if you want to. It gives me calm focus.
Mhm.
And then if you need something more than phosphatidylserine, probably our next like best supplement that we sell is called Be Well Calm. And Be Well Calm is a little bit more focused on serotonin. It's almost like just giving your body a little bit of that joy hormone, that contentedness hormone in a
Mhm.
food-based way. And again, you can really take even 2 to 3 times a day. And then the nice thing about using a nutraceutical is you can take 6 in one day and none the next, because it's food-based. It's not like a med that you have to take for a year at the same time every day.
Mhm.
And everyone responds a little bit differently to these things, but most of our patients do find that they get that sense of calm, which is really
It's nice, even if it's just psychologically, sometimes it's nice to have something to reach for
Mhm.
when I'm feeling extra stressed, right? Like,
Mhm.
and it's not the bottle of pills or Xanax or something like that. We
Yeah,
don't want to be doing
yeah,
that.
yeah.
But it's nice to know, like, hey, if I get overwhelmed, I can just
Mhm.
take a phosphatidylserine. It's gonna help me, relax. And it works, I think, pretty quickly. I think
Yeah.
these are not things that take a long time to kind of.
Yeah. And if you've never had anything like that before, either talk to your provider, talk to one of us. What we
Mhm.
usually recommend is to try it and see how it does for you. They're fairly well tolerated without a lot of side effects, but every individual is a little bit different. And remember, you're going to run low on magnesium and B vitamins. And so you might need to increase that from your foundational dosing when you are either when you're working out more or when you're more stressed.
There's also a lot of other tools. And we did a lot of these. We actually had Kathy Boone Black in recently who did a
Mhm.
class. She's a really phenomenal hypnotist, but she teaches things like tapping, meditation exercises, visualization exercises. These are things that whatever breathing exercises, I personally hate breathing exercises. I don't know what it is
Okay,
about.
stop. It's everything, you guys. When you breathe, you actually get oxygen to your
Oh,
brain.
I know
And
the
so,
science behind breathing exercises is great, but truly, when I do a breathing exercise, somehow I make myself even more anxious. So it's not the tool that works best for me, but for some people, there are amazing tools out there, whether it's tapping or whatever it is that can help you in those moments of stress. So, like whatever it is for you, if you have a mindfulness exercise, if you have a meditation that you do, really lean into that. And if you don't have one, maybe now, early in the season, is a good time to do some research online or talk with a provider or somebody who can help you work on how do I how do I deal with the stress in this like really nice natural thing. One of my favorite things to do, I struggle a lot with sleep. I don't know, Swathi talks about it a lot because obviously it's one of the four key pillars and it's probably the one I do the worst.
yeah.
I don't sleep well.
Mhm.
My favorite exercise to do at night to help me sleep. So this is going to kind of come into all these things that we're talking about is, but like lay there, close my eyes, and I start trying to, well, first I like try to tense every muscle in my body. I, like see if I can make every muscle tense at once. And then I sort of systematically tell myself to relax those muscles and I feel my whole body relax and I can sometimes I do it head down but I've recently decided I like actually working from my toes up, who knows why, but like release the the tension from my toes, release the tension from my feet, release the tension from my ankles, and really try to visualize in my mind all of that tension melting away and my body relaxing. Once I get my body to relax, those muscles to relax, it feels like my heart rate chills out a little bit. And then I start to feel sleepy. And so that's just like one exercise that I have been working on that helps me to sleep at night. But I think the most important thing is experimenting and talking with people who have tools and looking and see what tools work for you because not everything works for every person. And you might have to try a few things before you're like, hey, this exercise is really helpful versus that exercise. I tried yoga once and I didn't understand what it was doing. And maybe you just need to do yoga more. But
So here's the bottom line about that. This is one of the best things that I ever learned in medicine. Your subconscious mind doesn't know the difference between truth and false. What you tell your subconscious mind, it will believe. So if you go home at the end of the day and tell yourself, like, wow, I had a lot of things on my task list, but I got this done, this done, this done. I am really proud of myself. I'm going to get up the next day and attack the rest of it. Or if you go home and be like, I had 10 things on my list and I only got three things done, like, man, I can't believe I didn't even have the ability to get those other seven done. Your subconscious mind is going to understand that you're probably not looking at success, but failure. So at the end of the day, no matter what you do, whether it's listening to a calm story, whether it's doing a mindful meditation, I like words and I like that ability for someone else to kind of guide me through that. And there's like gazillion things on YouTube that you can
Mhm.
find. No matter what it is, at the end of the day, when it's just you and your subconscious, watch how you're talking to yourself. Especially this time of year, we put a lot of stress on ourselves. We have to make all the food, we have to cook well, we have to look well, we have to.
So I think the burden on women and mothers is enormous at the holidays, right? We are not we because I'm not a mom, but mothers are the magic makers, right? You're in charge so much of
I'm a
the
magic.
food and the, being Santa Claus and being everything for everyone. And that's a huge burden. And we can be really hard on ourselves, right? Like when things don't go perfectly, or maybe it's not the way you imagined it was going to be. I think being kind to yourself is the most important thing you can
Yeah.
do. Um,
And I think it allows you to be kinder to others because you just really understand. But just at I always say, because I do this to you guys, is sometimes you can, especially those of us that are highly driven, that are sometimes perfectionists. Like, one of the best things that I ever say is just be judgment free. Because when you're judging yourself so harshly, it really does get into your psyche. And so just be judgment free, love yourself, which sounds ridiculous, but it's so important. And that gives you the capacity to really give more the next day and to love each other. It honestly can sometimes even take your energy level up to 2 points by just being kind to yourself.
Hmm. That's why I love gratitude journaling. Something I do intermittently. I don't do it all the time because I get too busy, but I really love to sit back at the end of the day and think about all the things I'm thankful for. Anything, the people in my life, this thing that happened to me. And I try to also, this is the newer thing, try to put something on it that I'm grateful for that I did or that I brought to the world to remind me that I'm valuable, that and it's part of that being kind to yourself. It really, really helps with that emotional.
Actually, for a minute, like everybody just stop for a minute and just close your eyes and just think of one thing that you did yesterday that really made the world a better place, that brought joy to someone else, that you did that you didn't have to.
I
Had it?
think that would
How hard was that for some of you?
can be hard. It can be hard. And I
Mhm.
think it's a good thing. This is gonna we're gonna get a little emotional, but this is a hard time of year for a lot of people mentally, mental health wise.
Yeah.
So you know what you're going through, but you don't know what anyone else is going through. So I just always try to think about everyone I know and love and check in with them often during the holidays because it can be a very, very hard time of year for people who are struggling.
And if you or someone that you love needs help, go get it. Go
Absolutely.
find it. Do not ever be embarrassed to ask for help. It's really, really important.
And it's not always obvious who needs help. The sometimes the people who are struggling the most have the biggest smiles and the biggest
Yeah.
laughs. So you have to look a little bit beyond the surface and you have to ask them, how are you? Is there anything I can do to help? And sometimes just that check-in makes a really big difference for people.
Yeah. Guys, if you are noticing, I'm actually making some garlic right now and I'm cooking up some butter that we can baste our turkey with. So if you guys are looking,
It
that's
smells
what
so good.
you can see
Don't
it,
pour it on
but
my
that's okay.
computer.
No,
Don't
I
pour it
won't.
on
I
my
promise.
computer.
Anyway, I'm
Let's
just
talk
making
about
a
food.
little garlic, organic, pasture raised Kerrygold butter that we're gonna kind of put over the beautiful turkey that we made yesterday.
So let's talk
So
about
let's talk
food.
food because holidays are all about food, and holidays for me are all about other people cooking food, right? And so I don't always have the capacity to determine what I am eating. And so some of my tips are any kind of a holiday party that I get invited to, I always take a dish that I know I'm going to eat and I'm going to love. So I'll take sweet potatoes, I'll take vegetables, I'll take something that can round out if they don't have those things there. What
Mhm.
are some of your tricks?
My biggest trick is to forgive myself when I mess up because I'm going to eat something I know I'm not supposed to. And that's okay. What I don't want to happen for me or for anyone else is, oh, well, I had that cupcake, so I might as well have the
Yeah, right.
the Coke and the bread
Yeah.
and the
And
whatever
home
and let
completely.
it
Yeah.
like steamroll itself. Like, okay, I had the cupcake. I
So
shouldn't do that. Let's move on. Let's try
here's
to make
what I
it.
always say. Before I eat something, I ask myself two things. Is it nourishing my body? Because is it nourishing for me? And is it nourishing my soul? And if it is nourishing my soul, that is something that I'm going to enjoy and have completely judgment free, never thinking I'm not supposed to have that because I am supposed to have that. It's nourishing my soul. But then, like after the cupcakes, say, then that next thing is it really nourishing
It's
my
a weird
soul?
example. I don't even like cupcakes, but it was
Me
just the
either.
first thing that came to mind.
Me either, actually. But yeah, but is it really nourishing my soul? That's probably a good time to stop and just move on to something else. If you are going to indulge a little bit and you're going to have something more sugary, the order in which you eat your food can really help your body have better glycemic control. So what we encourage you to do is to have a healthy fat or a healthy protein first, then have your fiber, which is the vegetables. That's usually what I take to the parties. And everyone is always like, where's Swathi with the vegetables again? But I'm
It's
telling you,
true.
every single one of those veggies is usually gone when I come home. And so they do love it and they do eat it. I just am always that girl that brings that stuff. And so eat your fiber and then have that little bit of carb or that little bit of sweet. One of the things I don't really like dessert, and so oftentimes for dessert, I'll just eat the fruit. And it's
Hmm.
actually quite Like it's very rewarding for me. I feel quite content when I do that. The strawberries, the blueberries, the grapes, and those are always at those parties. And
Hmm.
so that's where I try to eat my protein first with the healthy fats, then my vegetables, and then my fruit as dessert. And most of the time when you go to Thanksgiving dinner and things like that, or Christmas dinner, holiday dinners, whatever, I think that there's plenty of food there that you can choose from. There's
Hmm.
plenty of food there that is probably not healthy for you, but there's probably good food there that is somewhat.
There's a lot of choices, and I think communicating ahead of time and knowing what you're going to bring, having a plan is going to make everything a little bit easier. If you don't have a plan and you just show up and nobody knows that you can't eat gluten or you can't eat
Yeah.
dairy or whatever, maybe it'll be a little bit more difficult. You can also pre-eat. Like if I'm going somewhere and I'm worried I'm not going to have specific food that I want or that I like, sometimes I have not a whole meal, but a
Hmm.
little protein-rich snack before I
Hmm.
go. So I'm not going to be starving because I think we make worse decisions when we're really hungry, right? Like when you're really hungry, that's when you're like, oh, that cupcake, the imaginary cupcake I don't actually like, sounds good all of a sudden. And so
And you guys, if
planning
it's a real issue, like for like my husband is like loves this type of thing, and I'm shocked at how much food he can put away. And I mean, it's joyous for him, and we let him do that. It's not a big deal. But if it's ever an issue for you, you can take a tiny bit of fiber, like specifically a fiber like our sun fiber, and have maybe even like a fourth of a scoop in some water before the party. What fiber does is there's not a lot of nourishment with it. Fiber is a great prebiotic, but it actually allows your stomach to feel a little bit more full, so you're not just like inhaling all the food. That way you can eat a little bit more mindfully. I don't want you to do that all the time. This is just a little trick that you can do on occasion when you don't want to really just overdo it.
Mhm. I think the other food area that I think a lot of people maybe have questions about or struggle with during the holidays is drinking alcohol. So beer and wine tend to be, big things at some of my family events. I
Mhm.
don't drink a lot, but maybe you want to feel like you fit in or something like that. I love to just do a sparkling water, one of the flavors, throw some fruit in there, put it in a fancy glass, and then it looks like I'm drinking a cocktail when really it's just
Mhm.
flavored sparkling water.
Mhm.
So
Last year for New Year's Eve, I actually took a bunch of there's recess drinks or just soy drinks that are actually magnesium and L-theanine, so they can kind of help, like kind of calm you. But they are non-alcoholic drinks, but they look and taste kind of like a glass of wine. And I took a bunch of those in, and that's what I
there's
had.
also like the apple cider vinegar drinks that kind of
Oh, and
look and
when
taste
if you
like
guys have ever
wine.
been to any of our evening like kind of get-togethers, my staff makes these amazing mocktails using the little mineral packets, the Ultima and the
Ultimate.
Element, and
Hmm.
they're really delicious. A little goes a long way, you guys. I tried to make it for book club one time, and whew, it was really intense, and I had to like kind of figure it out. But here's the thing: if you want a glass of wine, if you want a cocktail, again, is it nourishing your soul? And is this an appropriate time for you to have it? Have it judgment free. But then, like, back off again. Like, I don't want that to be the reason why you're going to those parties and things like that. Enjoy
Hmm.
your fellowship and enjoy your community. But there are so many other options now that you can do, even if you want a little way to calm. Look up those drinks. RECESS, Desoy. There's like a bunch of other ones like
Hmm.
that are non-alcoholic drinks that have, like I said, magnesium and I think taurine, L-theanine. These are amino acids that can really help you calm. And they
Hmm.
were pretty good.
Awesome. Well,
Yeah.
guys, I think at this point we're going to turn it over to any questions that you might have. So feel
Mhm.
free to, you can unmute yourself. You can turn your cameras on if you want to be able to see us and talk to us. You can also shoot a message in the chat. And Jen, who's moderating, will also let us know if there's any questions from you guys that we can answer. But we're really glad you joined us today for like a more casual, just talk about these kinds of things. There are so many options and so many tools. And if you are really particularly stressed, like Swathi said, or you have questions, see your provider. Come in and see them. Say, hey, I don't know what to do about X, Y, or Z, and we'll help you come up with a plan. Or we can refer you to a health coach or someone like Kathy Boone Black who can help teach you some tools to deal
And
with
there
some
are
of these
so many
things.
phenomenal therapists that are around that
Hmm.
do cognitive behavioral therapy, post-traumatic stress syndrome. There are so many different ways that we can really allow people to deal with trauma. I find that a lot of times that trauma that I've experienced in my life comes back to me during the holidays. A lot of the same triggers with family and things like that kind of come up. So I have to really prepare myself for that, make sure that I'm taking good care of myself so that I have the resilience to not kind of go into those old, kind of habits of maybe not dealing with the trauma well. And
Mhm.
so that's something that I'm very cognizant and very aware of, and very forgiving to myself for.
Jen, any questions from the audience?
No, not yet, but I want to mention a couple other like Zen type treatments that we have here at Be Well. So
Mhm.
come hang out in our sauna. It's a great place to
Yeah.
go and just de-stress, especially when it's cold outside. It feels extra good. So I know that is one place. That is Swathi's favorite Zen place, quite honestly.
It, for real. Like, I
If
don't
we
know
can't
whether
find
it's
her.
because there's two doors between me and the world or if it's the heat. Truly and honestly, like the Bebo sauna is a phenomenal, phenomenal place to be. Come with your friends. You guys, the sauna is big enough if you haven't seen it, that it fits about 4 people pretty well. You have to be pretty good friends because I want you guys to just kind of shower off and the shower is right next to it. And so like don't bring like someone that you just met before because that's a little awkward, but it is so much fun. We did a girls' night out one time and we had the 4 of us in there, and I'm not kidding. We had the best time. Like it was just so fun. We just got to all open up. We felt very safe and in there. But yeah, I love the sauna. FSM is kind of a forgotten tool around here that we never like seem to think of because it takes a little time. But we have a way that you can do something called frequency specific microcurrent. It's using essentially a millionth of an ampere of electricity to be able to stimulate the vagal nerve, which is all about calm, or even just to reduce anxiety. You usually lay on a beautiful biomat, which gives you a whole body treatment, and we put some wet towels on you. It takes about 45 minutes, but
Mhm.
most people walk out of here feeling really relaxed,
I feel a little spacey afterwards, which sometimes is nice because sometimes my brain's always going and feeling spacey, I think is my version of like
relaxed.
relaxed. But there's also, Jen was probably going to mention this, but I'm going to throw it out there because I love it, is a facial. Come in and get a
Mm,
signature facial with one of our two estheticians, Liz or Susan. They do such a good job and it feels so luxurious and they're going to make your skin look glowy and great
mm,
for the holidays.
mm.
But then also sometimes you get an arm massage or, the face or the head. It just feels so nice to lay
And for the
there.
rest of this month, we're doing a pumpkin enzyme facial, so you can
Ooh.
really feel like the holiday season with that beautiful pumpkin smells and
Yeah, pumpkin has
Very
tons
nice.
of enzymes. So the reason it's probably on a mask is that those enzymes help to break up the dead skin cells. So you're going to get just a much more glowy,
Mhm.
renewed skin. But yeah, I love a signature facial. Like I love the Hydra facial. It does a really good job, but it doesn't feel quite as like zen and therapeutic.
Mhm.
So I would alternate those. And during the holidays, I say get the luxurious spa experience version.
It's funny, I went to go and have dinner with my mom last week, and I walked in, I'm like, Mom, your skin is like glowing. What did you do? And she's like, I went and got a facial with Susan. And it was just so fun for her. She was just like talked all about it. And it is such a treat. And it is a privilege to be able to get that. But if you can come in and get that done, I still feel like our little Becoming You spa is the best kept secret in Carmel. And so please come and check us out during that for those things. There are so, like, as you can tell, we have a lot of things that we offer here. Look through our menu. We'll probably forget about some of the things that we should have talked to you about. But yeah, come and check those things out. And they make really great gift certificates if you're looking for something to get for your family
If you
members.
carry your stress physically in your body and in your muscles, cupping or trigger point injections
Okay,
can
those
really
trigger
help.
point injections were kind of amazing. Amy, Goodpastor, our nurse practitioner, does them, and she did trigger point injections all through here for me. And I actually didn't even know how tense I was and how my jaw was kind of clamping because of this time of season. And literally before the last shot, like within minutes, all of this tension resolved.
Yeah, we were trying to have a meeting, and Swathi's like, I'm gonna go home and go to bed.
Yeah, it was
She
it
was
was
like, I'm done.
amazing. All of these things that we're talking to you about are available to you as a non-patient. that is the best kept secret in Carmel, is in order to for you to be a patient, the only thing that you can't do if you're a non-patient is see us like in the privacy of the room. All of our other services are available for anyone. So if you're on our wait list, that's a really great way to come in and check us out. So IVs, FSM, sauna, the trigger point injections, the cupping if you have pain, all of those things are available to you even as a non-patient.
Let's
Jen, what
talk about this real quick. That's a kind of an exciting thing for some families is their college kids coming home for their first big break of the year. What's a good way to manage the stress of that?
Jenny, I'm going to refer that one back to you. My kiddos, I have a freshman and a junior. Like, I'm super new to this, and it is really stressful because they're not adults and they're not kids.
But they are.
And
I think that's the hardest thing for parents. I'm not a parent, but I will tell you, at school, nobody knew what I was doing, where I was doing it, what was happening. And then you come home and all of a sudden, like, I can't go out without my mom needing to know, well, what time are you going to be back? And where are you going? And who are you going to be with? And I'm like, hey, like, you didn't know any of those things when I was at
how
school.
did you
I
do that?
think the most important thing I think the most important thing, honestly, is to like manage your expectations and also put forth that. Like, I would tell my child, I expect you to be available on Thanksgiving. We're having dinner with your grandparents. But if you want to do something with your friends, why don't you let me know when that is so that I don't plan anything? And also, just communication, having communication with them and, not the expectation that you're going to be decorating the tree and getting all the things done with them and monetizing all of their time because they want to see their friends too.
And that is
And
what we
the other
ended up
thing is,
doing.
they
Uh-huh.
also want to sleep. They're tired. Like they've
They
been running around
are.
marathon at
They sleep
school.
so
Yeah. And
much.
they come home and they're in their own room and maybe they've been sharing one in their own bed and they want that downtime and alone time too. So, allowing that for them as well.
We did do just that because the very first year that my older son left and came home for college, I was really hurt because we have this tradition where we go to the Christmas tree farm, we chop down our Christmas tree, we come home. Putting up the Christmas tree has always been like in my mind this big family tradition. And my older son, who's very loving and caring, was just sort of like, okay, I'm out. Like, I don't want to do this. And that first year, I was really hurt. And I thought, well, this is ridiculous. So we kind of got together. And now our plan is the day after Thanksgiving, they still want to go to the Christmas tree farm. They still want to pick out the Christmas tree. When we come home, they help me actually put it up and they pick their most special ornament and they put it on the tree. And then they're out. And then I decorate the rest of the tree. That's bringing me joy. It brings them joy. They spend time figuring
But
out
I think
which, yeah,
what you
ornament
guys are
is the
both saying
favorite.
is communication. What I'm
Yeah.
hearing is
It's
communication. Now they're not
communication. And
fully
it's
adult,
also being
but they are.
open to creating new traditions. Like you can still, they love your old traditions, so I wouldn't completely get rid of them because if you do, they're like, well, what about the blah, blah, blah.
I
But
didn't
at
make
the
color
same
Easter
time,
eggs this year, Mom.
Yeah.
right, at the same time, evolving them into something that works for everybody, I think is just important.
Mhm.
And you're right, Jenny, like communicating and setting expectations, because sometimes your favorite holiday traditions aren't their favorite holiday traditions. And they sometimes they're just like, yeah, exactly right. Like when the Easter egg hunt was a big deal in our house, which I thought they were just a little too old for that. And my younger son was pretty disappointed that we didn't have an Easter egg hunt or the scavenger hunt. And I was like, okay, we'll do that every year. So yeah, keep those communications open and just know that they are growing into their own adults. And so yeah, I'm really excited because I have both my boys are away at college this year and they'll be coming home. So it's a really fun time for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, any other questions, guys,
No
before
other
we head off?
questions right now. Yep, I think we're probably good to wrap it up.
Okay,
All right. Well,
thanks guys. Happy
thanks for
Thanksgiving.
joining
We'll
us.
see you
Thanks.
soon.
Happy Thanksgiving. We'll see you next week.